I have a new challenge. I want to use as many dinos and kill as many bosses as I can. I want to go from Dillos to Rexes. If you want to watch, drop a follow or subscribe to one of my accounts. So this episode, really was a stream where I did a bit of everything. I started by setting my wolves to mate. I then realised that future I'm going to want a hatchery, so I looked into the refertilizer. I wanted to go and get everything I needed, but whilst doing this I actually spotted a 150 Dimorphodon that I went and knocked out and tamed. Shortly after this, I actually got back onto the focus, even though I was very everywhere. I finished the wolves breeding. I didn't actually change the stats that I was meant to be able to imprint, so it's still 11 days and 7 hours per imprint. This isn't great, but it's something I will correct later on. The first thing I did was fly out to the swamp to start getting some rare flowers for the refertilizer. I really was getting very far ahead of myself at this point, trying to make refertilizer before I've even got 20 eggs for the hatchery. I was just very distracted on this day. I then went to get some flint for some spark powder, and I didn't really need to do this. I crafted enough spark powder anyway. This was really wasting my time at this point in the episode. I actually moved on now to trying to get fertilizer. So my go-to was the fact you can use toilets to get fertilizer. This meant I went straight to making a toilet, and I actually built one straight away and flew down to the water at Green Ob to place it down. I obviously placed the toilet and used it straight away as I was able to. This got me 2 fertilizer, and I then got distracted again and started flying off for other things. I originally wanted to go get crystal, I think for rare mushrooms because they're part of the recipe, until I noticed an alpha carno, which obviously of course I had to go and kill it. I couldn't stay on task. After killing the carno, I flew straight up to get some crystal for there not to be any here. This meant I turned straight back around. I went back to use the toilet again to get some more fertilizer. And whilst doing this, I then checked on the walls, which are now breeding again, and I had adjusted the stats at this point to try and fix the imprint. I hadn't done it correctly, so now I could only imprint up to 80% by the time it had matured, so this would require further changes after this. I still chose to use this and imprint it as much as I could whilst it raised, ready to try and get a group of 3 together for me to start doing caves. But I did get distracted once more when I chose to go up to Carno Island to get some more chitin, and I did find another alpha here, which gave me nothing good again. On the way back, I remembered I wanted rare mushrooms, so I got all the crystal off the top of the mountain before heading back to base. On the way back, however, I actually managed to spot a supply crate. This actually gave me 2 saddle blueprints which I'd be able to use in future for beating the bosses. I then got back to base and continued imprinting and raising different wolves. This was still just for the focus of caves. I decided to take him out for a test run, realising these wolves were actually really strong, way stronger than I ever thought they would be. After this, I got another baby that whilst it was raising up, I used the pig to heal everything else. I then took the next one out for a bit of a run around to get him some levels and some more health before going to a cave. I picked up all of my wolves and started to make my way to the cave. I set them to follow me and entered straight into the cave, where the first thing I encountered I didn't even see. Heading further into the cave, killing everything with ease until one of my wolves got stuck. I freed him and went back to clearing out the cave. This cave was way easier than I was expecting it to be, until I got the artifact, and I decided to keep going through the rest of the cave to see what loot I'd actually be able to find. Heading through this cave, I found very bad loot. There was nothing good here for me, but I kept moving and just killing everything in here to keep increasing the levels on the wolf. After clearing everywhere out, I started trying to make my way out, but the wolves kept getting stuck on walls, and this took about half an hour to get out. As you just saw, he just jumped back down, and he repeats it here. I see him slowly walk away, and then I keep running up. I turn around and he's walked back into the cave. It took me a while to get out, but I transferred all the chitin and meat over to the RG so I could take it back to my base. So after this, I decided I wanted to get my wolves healed back up. That's why I'm taking the meat to give it to the pig and I can use it to heal them. As well as I've been struggling for chitin because of beavers not spawning. I haven't had any cementing paste. When I got back, I decided to go out and test the damage that my wolves were actually dealing. The first thing I did was take out the same group and use a pack buff whilst I was out, and the damage I was achieving was really high, way higher than I was expecting. I was dealing just over 600 damage. This is when I remembered I can get a mate boost by taking the one female, so I just needed to make sure she didn't die. After getting the one female I had, I went back out with the pack, using the mate boost and the pack boost to see how much damage I'd actually deal. To my surprise, I actually managed to hit over 900 damage. This means I probably don't need to mutate the damage to take these into a boss fight. All I need to focus on is getting some more health. I reckon if I can mutate them up to about 46 points in health, I will be able to level them up a bit into damage and health and get the Gamma Broodmother fight done easily, and maybe even the Megapithecus. The dragon is a different story due to them taking twice the damage from the fire. But to finish out this episode, I just want to explain something a bit different with this challenge whilst I run around. As much as I want to get through bosses quickly, I'm not going to be over leveling any of my dinos and breeding them so they do everything with ease. I do want a bit of a challenge, and this is going to be a long process for me to use every dino to kill hopefully 9 bosses. I know there are dinos that weren't meant to kill bosses, such as the Dilophosaurs, but if you breed them enough, I reckon I could kill maybe 1 or 2 bosses using this. But in the long term, I think that I just want to focus killing as many of the bosses with as big of a range as I can before the release of Arc 2. So I want to say thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and come and catch out the streams live.